2019 saw the Republic of Kenya, East Africa's largest economy, generate $4 billion in revenue through its digital economy. Tourism and agriculture remain Kenya's economic pillars, but the digital economy, consisting of all economic and business endeavors that rely on digital technologies, is the fastest growing sector. Many anticipate that the key to a new future of growth for Kenya and other African countries is to be found online. With an estimated growth of 11%, this sector has situated Kenya as the region's leading nation in digital and technological innovation, leaving its imprint not just on Africa, but on the rest of the globe. This leadership has earned Kenya's booming IT sector the name Silicon Savannah, a reference to California's Silicon Valley, but adapted in recognition of the expansive Kenyan savanna that has powered its economy for decades. Dennis Onkongi, CEO of Nupola Technologies, is an active part of the Silicon Savannah. Nupola Technologies is one of the many startups that make up the portfolio of TechBridge Invest, a company that houses a startup hub and incubator that supports young entrepreneurs, providing them with training, opportunities for investment, and a space to work.
We started as we actually had an innovation that we actually doing it in campus. But when we left campus, we have this kind of mind like, this innovation is good, and how can it help our people outside there? How do we take it from the idea stage to a product that people can actually use? So we had to start looking for people to investors to pitch to actually help boost our innovation. Our startup, we've been able to pitch to various investors, including TechBridge. From there, we were able to take our startup from the idea stage to be able to have a real working product that we're able to pilot to customers. So right now, as I speak, we actually have a final product that we've been able to sell to a number of customers. So what this product is, it is known as Mulika. Mulika is a Swahili word that means to shed light. The Association of Kenya Insurance approximates that at least 100 cars are stolen in Kenya per month. So, but what pains me most is that I have a colleague who actually lost his car, and most thieves take advantage of some of the vulnerabilities exist in the current security systems. So what our security system does, we're using the GSM technology to provide real-time phone call in case of any burglary attempts. So we've been able to sell to a number of customers who are actually giving us feedback on how our product is performing outside there, areas of improvements, because actually it is a new product, and we expect a lot of feedback from customers.
Located in Mombasa, Kenya's second largest city, TechBridge's Startup Hub gives an opportunity for entrepreneurs, innovators, app developers, and freelance workers to share a space, connect, and support each other's projects. Here, they can also get advice on how to turn ideas into profitable projects. In 2019 alone, $1.3 billion were invested in African tech companies. Of that, over 30% went to Kenyan startups.
TechBridge is an incubator. Our core activities, one is supporting startups, early stage startups in business development with an aim of investing in them. And so we do that through scouting and getting really early stage startups with high potential to scale. Mostly graduates, early graduates, and college going or university going students and we work with them through, design thinking models and business development stages to be able to bring their ideas from the idea stage all the way to prototypes, coming up with a minimal viable product, and eventually helping them get to the market.
I am the founder of Brands Technologies. I consider myself more of a software developer, a tech geek in a way. When I heard of Tech Bridge Challenge for the first time, I saw the posters and I thought, well, it's an interesting challenge. Why shouldn't I try it? So I applied with this idea of making cameras smart using artificial intelligence. Our flagship product is Brands Clear, which is a smart security system that it's basically a software that you plug into your camera, and then the hardware get enhanced with intelligence to be able to monitor itself and detect anomalies. Then we've got the Brands Prime Eye. It cuts across the field of computer vision, bringing together technologies like object recognition, facial recognition, anomaly detections, and threat analytics. What inspired us initially to start working on this idea is the various security incidences that have occurred within our country. We've had Westgate bombing, and we've also had an attack at Garissa University. These were attacks by terrorists who we believe could have been stopped if we had advanced systems that would be able to identify these people before they get access to such premises.
Like Dennis and Patrick, Kenya's large youth population has high levels of IT literacy. This has opened new job opportunities as more and more companies, local and international, turn to young Africans for IT-related jobs that would be more costly elsewhere. But with 75% of the Kenyan population being under the age of 30, employment can be hard to come by, even as the digital economy seems to be booming.
I work in an organization that really is the core of where content is stored. If I have an account with a banking institution and I needed to access my money from that bank in any digital way, my interaction digitally with the bank will at the end of the day have a connection to a processing system or a computing system that does the processing, a computing system that stores the data, which is my own private data that the bank has to make sure that they can always approve of myself as being the legitimate owner of an account. That computer that has the application that then allows me that digital approval for me to access my data, it sits somewhere. And where it physically resides has to be a secure facility, has to be a facility that has got reliable connectivity, because I'll always have to be connecting to it remotely. And of all the things, it should make sure that it's giving me the availability and the reliability that I expect as a user.
We are experts in training ground truth data for some of the world's largest tech applications, 25% of the Fortune 50 companies. And we have been in operation since 2007. We've had over 50,000 people lift themselves out of poverty from the digital work that we are offering. Our company is actually driven by the mission to alleviate global poverty. So we specialize in image annotation, video annotation, and sensor data for some of the applications for artificial intelligence.
The digital economy is an umbrella term that refers to all economies that rely on digital technologies. First, there is the infrastructure, the hardware and software needed to run businesses, from telecommunication services to computers and phones. Second, there's all the services, products, and processes that rely on digital technology. That's what some call e-business. And third, there's e-commerce, the transaction of goods and services over the internet. The digital economy also includes all jobs that operate in non-digital arenas but use digital technologies. In some industries, technology has been a disruptive force in the labor market. One example is the private transportation sector. The arrival of ride-sharing mobile phone applications has taken the industry by a storm.
I drive for Uber. I'm a driver. Personally, I'm a researcher by profession. I studied environmental science in Kenya Polytechnic, which right now is become a university. Quite unfortunately, I've never worked in the line of profession before. So when I came after doing my driving studies, I got into a tour company, that is safaris, you know. I drove with the safaris for around 8 years, and then later on I left safaris and then joined Uber. That is, I bought my own car and then I decided to get to Uber. So I've been working for Uber since then to date, which is around 3.5 years.
Drivers like Joel are what economists call gig workers. Their jobs are short-term, they are paid per project, and they have no relationship to the company, platform, or individual that hires them. Gig workers are part of Kenya's massive informal job market, which has been around for decades. However, many of those who are employed informally find jobs through online platforms and mobile apps. In 2019, 90% of the new jobs created in the country belong to the informal sector.
I'm a realtor, and I also do as a side job Airbnb. The app was easy because I used to live in America and still rent houses in Kenya, and the money used to go straight to my bank account in America. So it kind of worked out, and it was in dollars, not Kenyan shillings. And the best thing with the app is like, you know, it's not like somebody getting your money, you're getting the money directly to your account. The worst thing about just working for somebody here, the pay is really low compared to anywhere else. It's enough, you know, to have a comfortable life, but, you know, some other things, you know, I have to work hard for. That's why I do the Airbnb part as a side job. I never used to think I would be like a computer person or a gig person, but you know, the world is getting so small, and everything is getting like, if you come here in Kenya, they're so much advanced in this technology, and actually I had to learn how to do the M-Pesa thing to, you know, send money in M-Pesa. In Houston, I used to use Venmo, and actually it was just picking up, but here it's, you know, you go to the villages, people use that to send money, and everything in the digital age is easy, it's fast, and it's convenient.
Currently, I work on Upwork. Mostly, I do project management on Upwork and partly virtual assistance. And I met a friend who was using Upwork. He just told me there is this great platform called Upwork. You can just create an account and apply for jobs. I started applying jobs like data entry, just simpler things, working on Excel. And then I landed my first contract. It wasn't very long and it wasn't much paying, but at that moment I knew this could really work out. I paid my own school fees with Upwork. I bought my car with Upwork, and it is really fun working with diverse people. Almost all my clients are from the US and then from Canada and UK. I do not even want to look at the disadvantage side. Maybe one thing I found challenging is, you know, my parents, they want, where are you working? They want to hear some big company, you know, something they know, they are familiar with. I am actually very active on social media. I use mostly Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I actually enjoy working on Instagram. The key is you find a brand that you like their products, not just doing it for the sake of doing. For example, I really like shoes, and I want to pass an opportunity to work with a brand that sells shoes.
The gig economy has its drawbacks. Gig workers don't have the benefits associated with employment within the formal economy. This means a lack of protection and representation, as well as limited opportunities for career improvement and pay increases. The flexibility that gig working allows also equates to a lack of consistency, stability, and dependability. The affordances of the digital economy haven't reached all four corners of Kenya. In rural areas, access to strong education resources and infrastructure are significant hurdles to reaping the benefits. In 2014, 50% of urban residents in Kenya accessed the internet daily. In rural areas like Voi, it was less than 20%. The term digital divide is often used to express the gap between those who have computer and internet access and those who do not. Societal, food, or other resource pressures can be a heavy burden on families and children of school age. This often puts pressure on them to immigrate to the city to find work. Cities are the traditional focus of investment and job creation. In an effort to offset this, passionate educators have opened up spaces to train people in the skills they need to succeed in the digital age.
One of the reasons why I co-founded SoteHub together with Jakub Shimek, there's a lot of challenges young people going through, especially with unemployment and a lot of society issues. So we thought if we could get a space like SoteHub where they can be able to learn how to do business, and we provide sort of like a supportive ecosystem and see how this can be able to be spinned off in terms of solutions to the issues in the society. We started SoteHub in 2016, and it was as a necessity that we had many young people out there who had creative ideas, and we wanted a space where we could further mentor them, support them, expose them to networks, probably funding, and be able to nurture these business ideas. And so from 2016 up to date, we've been able to support like 30 startups that have been able to come out of the space. I am looking forward to innovation, to sort of like projects like ours, like SoteHub, where we're able to support, especially because one of the challenges always been in the curriculum. It prepares these young people to get jobs, but not to be creators of jobs.
SoteHub has two major projects that we do. Our first project is called Sote ICT. Sote ICT basically works with schools, high schools within Taita Taveta and Kwale County. We call it ICT projects within schools. We've been donating computers to schools. Apart from donating computers to school, we have established innovation clubs within schools where we train students through those clubs. We train them on business skills, we train them on ICT skills, including coding, developing softwares, and so on and so forth. And each year, we normally host what we call the Sote Innovation Fair, where we bring together all the students from all the high schools. We are working together to showcase their innovations that they have. Then once the students graduate from high school, now we have this project, SoteHub, which is an incubation center, the first rural incubation center we have in Kenya. And basically here what we do, we bring startups, young startups. This could be high school graduates with amazing ideas who have passed through our programs in high school. And we have seen that they have projects that are viable, which can fit for incubation. So we bring them here at SoteHub. And then here we're able to train them. We're able to connect them to seed funding. We give them a co-working space. They're able to work from here. We are trying to bridge the digital divide. You understand, most of the schools that are basically located within the rural communities have a big challenge even accessing ICT infrastructure. So Sote has been trying to provide ICT infrastructure for schools. And again, the biggest challenge we have, many students when they graduate from high school, there's big problem when they cannot get jobs. And the biggest also another problem is if they don't have digital skills, there's always been a challenge for them. So Sote, we have moved forward to do a project with schools, training them on ICT skills, training them on job skills, helping them on innovation.
Sote Hub in Kenya's hinterland provides a space to work, offers coding classes, and also runs an award-winning school program. It fights two long-standing problems in the digital divide: gender and rural divides. A great example of digital innovation that crosses the digital divide comes from 4 young schoolgirls from Kajire Girls High School in Taita Taveta County: Sandra, Antonia, Nancy, and Joyce. Working together with Sote Hub, they won multiple competitions for their device to reduce the occurrence of human-elephant conflict in their village. Their application triggers audible sirens and sends instant SMS alerts to villagers and the Kenya Wildlife Service Rangers when elephants are in the vicinity.
You know, women, they just feel like they're not needed in the society. But if they believe in technology, they can also feel like they have the courage and self-confidence to do anything in this world. First time that I came to this school, I didn't know anything about technology. So our patron, one of our teachers, introduced us to the ICT club So I got so much interested about technology. I wanted to know much more about the technology that we're using today and how we can help other people. We came up with the Ndovu Care project for the elephants. We came up with this idea because the elephants are affecting our daily lives in school. So like we came up with this gadget so that we can help to prevent the human and wildlife conflict, so that we can enable to bring peace between the two parties, the wildlife and also to the humans.
First of all, get a solution to the problem that are affecting us. That's why we decided to come up with this project so that we can stop the conflict. And it is not only in our school, because human-wildlife conflict is all over the world. We plan to make our project a global one, because for now we lack funds and we lack a lot of support. So after we finish Form 4, we're going to look for those supports so that we can make our project a global one. It's really a nice project.
Research has shown, again and again, that being skilled in information and communication technologies can have a transformative impact on people's lives, particularly in less affluent countries where early access to digital technologies, such as computing resources or internet access, is more limited. In Kibera, one of Nairobi's less privileged neighborhoods, local and international donors have been putting theory to practice for years. Opened in 2014, the Kibera Town Center, built by the Human Needs Project, provides high-speed internet, a computer lab, and classrooms where residents can acquire transformative skills. Byron Hainga, who oversees some of the ITC literacy programs at the center, has seen the direct impact of empowering young Kenyans through digital competencies.
I'm an electrical engineer. So I was looking for something that would basically intrigue me in the engineering world, and also having born and fully bred in Kibera, I was also looking at a way where I would put engineering into best use, basically to empower the community that I come from. So Kibera Town Center to me was the best option. The world is all driven by new innovations and technologies every day. So we try to the best of our abilities, and of course with the availability of funding, to keep up with the pace and still remain relevant as we provide service to the community here.
I'm a student studying wildlife and tourism management. I also do a business, computer services. I inherited it from my father. I offer lamination in the business. That's what I do. Printing, photocopying, scanning of documents, music downloading. I'm the one who manages the business with my friend. He helps me most of the time I'm in school. I think it's good to have work in Kibera, since the place has inadequate computer services. I may like it to be here so the community can benefit it from me.
When I wake up in the morning, I freshen up, then I come to job. I started the business. I had to save for the capital. After I got the capital, I had to start off. When a customer comes, you have to ensure the customer is having an original ID before the transaction, so that one can prevent that act. Before the arrival of M-Pesa, I think it is now more comfortable than the way it was before. Like, you have to go to, maybe I come to you if I want money, but as per now, I can just send you money through M-Pesa, which makes it easier than before.
So we work with young individuals, ladies and gentlemen. And we try and put our focus on increasing their capacity to be able to either get jobs or set themselves up in business on their own using technology. So disruption, basically. Swahili Box grew as a project, which would enable us, with our years of experience, and a lot of us, most of us had actually finished our degrees, and we had some skills that we could impart to the younger generation, because these days you don't really need a degree to do tech, right? You just need the skills. And backing it up with, not your mouth, but your work. And that is what we wanted to do for the youth.
Ali's story is like that of many other Kenyans who, after studying abroad, decide to come back to invest in sharing knowledge and skills. This has also been an objective of the Kenyan government for quite some time. At all levels, from the central government to local councils, officials have been eyeing the digital economy as a tool to accelerate development.
Digital economy is very crucial. We are looking at different, one of it is actually, it increases the economy of Mombasa, number one. When I mean economy, we are talking of more revenue to our county government, which means we can be able to deliver more projects, development projects to the public. And again, the digital economy has been able to come up with new innovation. We have youth coming up with new ICT innovations which are ready for deployment, and we as a government trying to promote them by linking them with the vendors.
The societal transformations that can be attributed to digital technologies extend beyond the gig economy. The arrival of M-Pesa, a mobile phone banking system by SMS in 2007, transformed the banking sector in Kenya. M, meaning mobile, and Pesa, the Swahili word for money, opened up access to financial services for people across the country for the first time. A study of rural households found that those who adopted M-Pesa saw their incomes increased up to 30%. The rise and evolution of mobile communications has also altered how Kenyans communicate and consume information. It is now easier and faster to get news across multiple platforms from anywhere around the globe. Because of this, journalists are now faced with the challenge of digesting and disseminating information from a variety of sources and keeping track of social media trends and legitimate information.
This has been largely driven by consumption of content on mobile devices. So this consumption is largely due to two things. So first, we have a high internet penetration, and then secondly, we have a more mobile accessibility. So mobile devices are becoming cheap and cheaper to afford. We find more consumers able to afford mobile phones with the smart applications. This was not the case before. And then secondly, consumption of internet has become more affordable. So now we're in a context where we talk about homesteads or households having more mobile phones than toothbrushes. If you go to the rural villages, people are able to connect to the internet. They're able to have a cell phone, but they don't have a toothbrush, for instance. It's become like a basic need.
The major impact that digital media has had on Kenya as a society is the liberalization of the information space, such that before digital media came in, we just had the traditional mainstream sources of information. Those were newspapers, TV and radio. But when digital came in, more so with the Web 2.0 and the social media, everything expanded. And currently, I would say not so many people will see a story if you tucked it in the inner sides of a newspaper, but they are most likely to see it if it appeared on Facebook or Twitter. So it opened up the information space, and we have so many other people, alternative sources of information for the masses. On the Kenyan media specifically, it was the liberalization of the space and allowing more or newer entrants to enter. So currently, we have bloggers, we have Twitter people, we have the so-called influencers who are rivaling media, one-man shows.
The ease of access to social media platforms has enabled more voices to be heard and democratized the reporting of social injustices. The higher volume of reporting enables more investigative and citizen journalism. Kenya's very vibrant media system has seen an explosion in commentary and new voices with the popularization of social media. However, with the rise in social media use, There has also been a rise in user-generated political content, which often breeds a new danger: disinformation. For many Kenyans, like elsewhere in the world, social media is primarily consumed for entertainment, but disinformation, coupled with targeted advertising, can spread falsehoods like wildfire.
Fake news, I could define it from the street person's view, but also we have a law defining what fake news is in Kenya. From the street person's view, it's just information that is incorrect, that borders on misinformation and at times disinformation, with the intent to sway public opinion or influence action in a way that is quite mischievous. And then from the legal point of view, the Kenyan law states that fake news will be any piece of information that's generated through with malicious intent and misusing communication tools within the country.
The biggest drivers of digital media is how fast it breaks. Yeah, so with that comes another challenge of verification of that news. Yeah, so in scenarios where we have things like weather, terrorism, or accidents, there's need to break the news quite fast so that people can be able to start preparing themselves. But there are other contexts, for example, politically related, where we find a lot of abuse of the digital media platforms, and that's where it's mostly affected when it comes to fake news.
Africa Check is one of the organizations at the forefront of the fight against disinformation in the continent, from false health alerts to politically motivated fake news stories.
Fact-checking happens when you take a claim that has been made already. It could be in public, by a public official, it could be in a report, it could be in a newspaper article, and you look at a claim and try to judge using the best possible evidence whether the claim is accurate or not. And once you have used the best possible evidence and the best possible expertise, you then come up with a verdict or a decision as to whether the claim is accurate or not. That's different from verification, where we tend to deal with information that is user-generated. So it could be a photograph you found online, it could be a post, it could be a tweet, and you're trying to see if it is authentic. And usually the end product of that is a decision as to whether you're going to run it or not. So a fact check is something that has been, it's after the fact. But verification tends to be with a view to deciding whether or not you're going to use something, and it tends to be with user-generated content.
Kenya first faced problems with politically motivated disinformation in 2007. Post-electoral violence, inflamed by rumors circulated through SMS, led to over 1,000 deaths. While there haven't been further incidents of the same magnitude since then, there have been subsequent reports of attempts to interfere in the elections by domestic and foreign actors. Often disguised as user-generated content, news stories attacking political figures were circulated widely on social media during the 2017 presidential election. In Kenya, disinformation spreads mostly through WhatsApp, a mobile messaging platform that is used by more than 70% of Kenyans.
Politicians now are careful with their words. They're a bit careful with their words and even careful with how they portray themselves and how they communicate, the tools they use, the way they were taking advantage of pre-2007. Currently, they think twice. Because choices have consequences, and some of them have seen. And from a politician's point of view, it really has made us think before we act, think before we talk.
In Kenya, since the 2016 American election, we have seen a lot of intentional use of false news. So a lot of disinformation, misinformation as well. It has become more than important more critical for journalists to look out for false information and aggressively fact check it and see who it is who is producing it, and better equip the public with the ability to counteract false claims.
While the role of fact checkers is to help users determine whether the content that they see online is true or not, they have no ability to remove that content from platforms altogether. This is the job of content moderators. Content moderators use a predetermined set of rules to review and analyze user-generated content on social platforms to determine if the content is permissible or not. There is currently not an internationally established set of rules for this. Private companies are left to determine these boundaries themselves.
Many companies, they want to brand themselves and they want to maintain their reputation and image. So for them to be in the market, a competitive market, we have to eliminate some bad contents from their walls. We filter the bad content from the good content.
Facebook announced new efforts to prevent illegal content from being published globally. As part of this effort, they partnered with a Kenya-based company to externalize content moderation services, which is common practice for this industry. Their job is to keep things like pornography, violence, and illegal content from the social network. In theory, the idea of content moderation is positive and important in order to protect the general public. But content moderators themselves can often develop serious mental health issues as a result of constantly having to review violent or disturbing imagery.
If we don't do content moderation, I think children will get exposed to some things that they are not good for them at their age. You find that some people post pornographic movies on the sites. So for us to eliminate them, if we don't eliminate them, they will get exposed to kids. And it will also reduce the companies, it will also reduce the sales of the companies, just the bad reputation on them.
Freedom of speech is enshrined in Kenya's constitution and has been upheld again and again by Kenya's courts. However, the spread of disinformation and the proliferation of controversial content on social media has opened up a debate on whether more regulation is needed. To some, laws restricting what can be said and what cannot be said on social media are an attack to the freedom of expression. To others, regulation is needed to stop the spread of misinformation, as it might cause confusion and public frustration, which can greatly affect a political system. Digital technologies, with all their flaws and shortcomings, have opened a golden era of opportunity for many Kenyans. In recent years, Kenya has witnessed novel examples of technology being used in rural communities to improve the quality of life. It has seen the rise of digital platforms that are transforming the workforce. It has experienced the transformation of the media sector, which is now more plural and diverse than ever before. With so much change in such a short period of time, foreseeing the future is an ambitious gamble. Technology hubs conjure imagery of sleek offices with beanbags for chairs, coffee stations, and decadent lighting. In reality, they come in all shapes and forms where goals are delivered with a pressing sense of purpose to benefit the local community. As innovation meets creativity, there is no shortage of possibilities for digital Kenya.